Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Scorpio. If Scorpio is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, knock, 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 and let's take a look at what's going on here tonight, Scorpio. What do these tea leaves have to say? And so our tarot card that kind of, I just choose one, or well, I don't take it out particularly, but I take one from the from the pile, as you would. And it kind of sets the tone for the reading. It might have nothing to do with the reading. I mean, it really, it just depends on also what we're seeing here. So tonight the card is the 10 of Swords. So this has to do with rune, okay? An ending for sure, right? This could be, some kind of interference that has affected your life in some way, a departure from a situation, okay? Some kind of, a shift, as I like to say, a shift, a change in the path, not just a bend in the road. Things have kind of split off apart. But, just because something is ruined over, doesn't mean it's a sad thing or a terrible thing. Often, this is the universe giving us a blessing. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. I'm going to turn it back this way, and we have this really extravagant looking ship. And now I'm trying to think what these ships are, and I know that they were, I almost want to think they were like Spanish or French battleships, and they were kind of these odd shapes as far as, these are like old-timey ships with sails, okay? And they were built in such a way that they could just cut through the water so quickly. They were, often used to ram other ships and kind of, sink them, basically. Oh, hi, TT, hi. And so this is definitely a quick departure. The ship, for me, whenever I see the ship, it is movement, travel, a change in pace, leaving something behind. And because this ship is so ornate looking, it is a very interesting ship. It's not just like a little sail ship, a sailboat or something. This is definitely a ship with intention, right? So, I feel like, and this is because we have a heart over here, okay? I do feel like, and we have also, as I look at the heart, and the cat crawled just right down my back there. I can't tell you how many times I'm doing a reading, and this little hairless kitty that we have, TT, most of you know her from maybe some of my pictures. My older readings, she used to come up here a lot more. But definitely in Paul's videos, my husband, shout out to Dove and Serpent Tarot, she likes to make cameos over there quite often. But yeah, so she'll be like, if you hear her kind of making little sprittle noises and running around the room here. She's probably just about to crawl up my back with her little claws. So, anyways, we have the heart. We have, it looks like somebody walking away from the heart. Now we have the ship. Okay. So I feel like there was a departure from a relationship. Does this have to be romantic? No. Is it? Maybe. Right. And I think that this is, listen, this is the kind of relationship that the universe wants you to run away from, not walk, not toil in the separation, but to jump in that ship and get out of there as quickly as you can. Okay. Is this happening now? I don't know, but I think that this is more of something that has already come to pass, mostly because of the card we have. I think that, you know, this is at the end of the suit there. We're not dealing with a, you know, an early card within the swords. So we're kind of at completion almost. This thing is done for the most part. And I think that, you know, a judgment has been made. A decision has been made, and there has been already a separation, probably, likely, I hope anyways, that you have not been talking or seeing each other either. But I do believe that there is a feeling of, well, probably a little bit of lament here. I think that, you know that this was supposed to happen, that the breakup, right? Not the relationship. But I also think that there is some trouble in trying to come to terms with the fact, and listen, this could be a thing from 15 years ago. Okay, it just, whatever, sometimes these things just come up in our minds, right? It's just something you think about, and you know, lament it, you think about the what ifs, whatever, and then it passes and you forget about it again until like the next little blip of loneliness or whatever. But I do think that, you know, thinking that this person will never be yours, you know, you related, obviously, in some ways that were probably pretty interesting, pretty fun. You know, they were somebody that you really, for one reason or another, were quite attracted to. But it just, I mean, this was a nightmare to some degree. Not the right person. You know, I feel like this seems like it was somebody who was pretty volatile. And I think they brought that out in you as well. Okay, I think that this is somebody likely who, at least at the time, kind of matched your energy. And I think that that can happen where we meet somebody, we try to date them or whatever, and on paper they seem like they'd be perfect for us. We have so many interests in common. We're so alike. We're so compatible. But in practice, it's like you're so much alike. And maybe some of the ways that are really have not been processed, healed, cultivated within yourself. And so when you get matched up with somebody who really activates parts of yourself that are troublesome, that coping mechanisms, that are destructive, likely, it just stops being fun. And, you know, if you can stop yourself from getting stuck into that cycle with somebody or a series of people, you know, do it, because far too many wonderful people get stuck in these relationships, or a series of relationships where, you know, it brings out the worst in us. And we bring out the worst in our partners, right? Another cat down there. Getting ready to brace myself. Oh, there he is. Hello. Okay. So I think that this was, you know, never going to work out. I think you need to stop and remind yourself. Come on, Pudge. Come on. Thank you. Stop and remind yourself that the universe is watching out for you. Always watching out for you. No matter if it seems like it's working against you or not, you know, sometimes it is probably. But for the most part, I think that we learn our lesson. We have to move on. Okay. So, and then we have this horse. This, it looks like maybe a horse or a donkey, kind of just standing, looking back. Okay. Usually the left part of the bull is, more of the past. The right is more of the future. Okay. Come on. Come on, buddy. Thank you. Go on now. Go on. Go on, go on. Go see Poppy. Go on. All right. So, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, you know, there's that, you stop and kind of look back. Kind of see, are they looking back at me? No, they're not. I mean, hopefully this is an old thing. So hopefully everybody's moved on. I think the real thing that we should be looking at here is, what is causing you to kind of even go back and look at these relationships, or this relationship in general, you know, specifically, I should say. Is there an anniversary that has come up? What has happened? It's some kind of event that is making you think about this. Is this kind of the beginning, kind of, tremors of a, you know, spiraling out, destructive, you know, cycle of behavior? Whatever it is, take heed, okay? Go the opposite way. Go against your instincts with this one. Don't reach out. Don't sit around and think about this. Don't romanticize something that was awful, okay? This person sucks, you know, and if you remember that or not, I'm going to tell you, they suck, okay? So, let's look at this one. We have a person who is kind of looking up. It almost looks like they're, like, here's the body. Uh-oh. The little foot fell off, and their back is kind of arched backwards. They're looking up into the sky. We have another person here standing, looking up into the sky. Okay, so in my opinion, you know, in these spaces where, you know, we feel a little bit empty, maybe things have not been going our way. Maybe we've been under a lot of stress. We're feeling a little more emotional than usual. We start digging around in our background, in our old things, to find some kind of comfort there. Okay? And you wouldn't be the only one to do that. We all do that, right? But I think it, you know, at least in this case, this is going to be counterproductive to continuing to work yourself out of whatever has been going on. Okay. In the past readings, if you haven't watched any of the other Scorpio readings, we've been talking about, some events happening, and trying to kind of, change your vision of what your life is going to be like in the now, but also, short term and longer term. Okay. I think that there's been a lot of shifts, a lot of things kind of changing. Maybe one or two things, important things, pretty abruptly. So, you've been on a journey to get things sorted out. It makes sense that you might have a little space for something that feels familiar, even if that familiar feeling does not serve you, right? I think it's not uncommon for a lot of people, not just people who have had trauma or, been through different kinds of, complicated family dynamics or relationship dynamics. But it's not uncommon for a great deal of people to find comfort in uncomfortable places. It's familiar. We live in a world that is, at its core beautiful, right? A divine thing. But our collective psyche, the things that we consume, media and such, like to tell us that everything is terrible all the time. And a lot of us feel that way. And when we're trying to dig ourselves out of that, trying to find other ways to live, it makes sense that we would seek refuge in those old feelings of terrible. I think this is also why people look for negative attention, and we see that all the time in life. People doing things to receive negative attention, any kind of attention, but for some reason, negative attention. It's so fulfilling, but because it's familiar, right? So I hope that you, for your own self-work that I know that you have been doing, decide to choose to move forward, and don't choose against yourself. Don't choose to remain in these places that you already know haven't worked. And doesn't even, the relationship, whatever, but ultimately choosing to stay in places where you feel bad, and I think that with the figures here where they're looking upwards, there is such a draw towards the divine, towards the awe. And, these things, it doesn't just show up one day. You're not going to just, you could be, but likely you're not going to just be like driving home from work one night and, you're an angel like appears in a field and, this kind of divine revelation happens. I don't know. Maybe it would or should or could happen. But likely the way that you are going to find your way into divinity, or, well, you are always in it, but to perceive this life as being divine, as being a beautiful gift, and that is through gratitude, through service, through actively working against those crummy feelings, not letting yourself succumb to them all the time. Sometimes, yes, sometimes we do. We just do. When it's a dark, rainy day and I want to sit on the couch and cry over like Hallmark movies or whatever, yeah, we all deserve a little, sad break, right? But not every day. We need to choose against it as much as we can. We have to. That's the only way to, and if that is through seeking mental health support, if you need to do, medical intervention type things, seeking guidance religiously, spiritually, through our friends and family, being with people, staying active, keeping your mind active, right? All these things that we talk about here in this channel. I like to talk about things that are accessible to all people. And I know with the mental health and the medical, those are privileged things. A lot of people don't have access where they're at. And I understand that. So the things that we do talk about are also, different kinds of mindfulness techniques. Okay. Using things like active imagination, meditation, intentional movement, stimming, self-soothing, all things that you can look up online. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they are all things that are free, right? These are all things that are free to you. These are also things that you probably would learn in different mental health modalities. Okay, and this is no replacement for that. Don't make that mistake. I'm not licensed. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist or a therapist of any kind. But I am in recovery and I've done a lot of mental health stuff for myself. So these are the things that I think about a lot. And so instead of choosing to get lost in these corridors of, romanticizing old hurts, going back to old places in your life where things were painful, chaotic, misaligned. Maybe you were rejected. Maybe you rejected them. Whatever it is, there were high emotions. And so when we go through big shifts in our life, of course we look back on things like this and we think, we think them over. And then next thing you know, you've been thinking it over for days. Your mind has been, just taken over by this. Don't lose your moments to this kind of thinking. It's like, I like to think of things like this as like, William Burroughs said that, language is a virus from outer space, right? These are intelligent, language is an intelligent species that gets into your brain and runs it. And this is, I believe this, but I also think that it can free us as well. So we have to talk divinity into ourselves. We have to talk positivity, gratitude, thinking about opportunity, being creative. If you feel like you're not a creative person, I think everybody should be looking at artwork, listening to music for at least 30 minutes a day. You should be looking at art. It doesn't matter what it is. Go and look at some art. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to go to a museum. You could go to a library, look at some books. You could get on your phone. There are endless sources of artwork online. These things will change the way that you perceive the world, reality. It will. It really will. But you have to be motivated to do it. You have to keep doing it. It's not something that's just going to happen one time and it's fixed. You have to be devoted to this change. Okay, let's take a look over here. I see, let's see, I see a person here and they're facing, it looks like a child. There's almost a mirrored image, okay? And so I feel, and I know, the healing your inner child. It sounds corny, but it's so, because it's real, it's true. We have to take care of that part of ourselves that feels left behind, left out, unheard, wronged, neglected, right? And I think that's where a lot of this comes from. In all of us, especially when we are willing to accept love and treatment from somebody who obviously does not respect or honor us, right? And that has to do with that child within us that feels less than, that doesn't deserve to be treated well, to be, cared for, listened to, honored. So you have to do that for yourself. I think of the work of the inner child a lot like, and this is because now I'm a parent, and I never understood this until I became a parent. But you have to raise yourself. You have to go back, even if you are doing it in active imagination, visualization, painting pictures of it, writing about it, whatever it is, going through kind of a role play process of saving yourself. You as an adult, saving yourself as a child, taking care of yourself, being the protector of yourself. And through that work, I really do think that it changes how you interact with other people, the energy you put out, and what you are willing to put up with. Where are the boundaries, and keeping those boundaries firm. And it changes the entire way that people perceive you, I think. And I don't know. I think, there's a confidence that comes from feeling more and more whole. And so, I don't know. These are some things to think about. And, Scorpio, I have such a fondness for you all. And, I guess not unlike a mother would say, I want the best for you. And I want you to want the best for yourself. And I think that you do, We all get kind of tripped up here and there. And that's okay. There's no judgment. It's just about catching ourselves as quickly as we can so we can get right back up on our feet and keep it moving. All right. So we're going to look at the Indigo Sage Affirmation cards. These are the air sign. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of open this up. There we go. It's pretty. It looks, I think these ones are fairies or elves, maybe. I don't know, but they're pretty. It says, infectious, lover's laughter. You were born to be a warrior of light. Relinquish the old warrior to the divine. There you go. It says it all. Stop lamenting. Stop worrying about that old stuff. Stop going back to that old configuration. Give it to God, as they say. Give it to the divine. Let they worry about it. Because you are moving forward. You have more important things to deal with. All right. I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm, and the algorithm kind of decides everything about how anything in the world works right now. So we like to give it the engagement that it wants, and you know, things like liking the video, watching the readings from the beginning to the end, sharing the videos on other social media platforms. Of course, you don't have to do any of these things, but I like to mention them in case you feel so inclined to, you know, help support the channel. And these are ways that really do help support the channel and its growth. Other than that, if you have not subscribed, please think about doing so. You can hit that little bell when you subscribe, and it will let you know when the next videos come out. Between now and the next Scorpio, if you want to watch your other placements, your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising, Venus, and if you do some cross-watching for your loved ones to find out what's going on in their horoscopes. And the last thing, if you want to leave a comment, please do. I read every single one of them. They are all so meaningful to me, and I truly look forward to them. You know, sometimes it takes me a day or two to get back just because I do reply to all of them. So, you know, it gets to be quite a few and I have to kind of take my time to get through them. So anyways, I want to thank you, and we will talk again in just a few days from now.